Most entrepreneurs think working 80 hours per week is the only way to grow their business. But I've worked with hundreds of business owners, and the ones who scale their business are not the ones who work harder. They are the ones who work smarter. And overworking is the reason why business owners stay stuck. So I'm going to show you how to cut in half your work week while also increasing dramatically your profit. I'll break down exactly what's keeping you trapped in your 80 hours work week, and we'll share with you the 3 key shifts that need to happen for you to reclaim your time and scale faster. After helping entrepreneur dads saving thousands of hours, I know the exact mistake that keep them stuck, and it's time to fix it. 99% of business owners ignore this one key shift, but the likes of Dan Martell and Alex Hormozi have been preaching it for more than a decade. And it's not a specific sales funnel or AI tool or time blocking strategy, but it's likely what has been holding you back at 80 hours per week for so long. And if you continue to ignore it, it might take you years in order to reclaim your time. Years that you don't have because you're an entrepreneur dad, and I don't want you to miss out on your kids. But the amazing news is that you need 0 extra time to start implementing it into your daily life and start reclaiming your time. This key shift is to fire yourself from daily operation. What it means is being super aware of how you spend your time and making it a must that you're always spending time on high income activities. I'm going to give you a step-by-step process how you can start doing that today at no extra time. And the first one is so simple that I can't believe that more people are not doing it. This is called a time audit. Personally, I like to call it the captain time log, because just like the captain sailing the ocean of business, you need to be aware of what's going on a day-to-day basis before you can change the direction where your ship is going. The method I'm going to share with you is simple and doesn't require any third-party application. We're just going to be using your calendar and your phone. Here's how it works. First, you get a Pomodoro app on your phone that will measure 25 minutes of work and 5 minutes of break. You can modify the settings if you want to, but 25/5 works great for most people. When you don't have anything in your calendar, in between meetings, in between sales calls, in between meetings with your team, in between sport activity, when the calendar is empty, you're going to set the timer, work on whatever you work normally for 25 minutes, and then when the timer rings, you have 5 minutes to stretch, drink a glass of water, and write in your calendar directly how you spend the last 25 minutes. Don't write it on a piece of paper. Don't write it in a third-party app for now. We can get fancy in the future, but write it in your calendar directly. Why? Because half of it is already completed. Because you already have all your meetings in your calendar. So we just need to fill in the blank. Do that for just one day, and then you'll be ready to move on to the next step, which is where you're going to really start to see the return on your investment. Now that you have your full day mapped out in front of you with all your pre-planned meetings plus the ones that you added, it's time to rate those events. Look at the various parts of your calendar that you saw there, all those little 25-minute increments when you wrote what you were doing, and rate them on 2 scales. The first scale is how much money do I make with this activity? And you can use Dan Martell's code, $5 signs equal a lot of money, $1 signs equal not a lot of money, and no dollar signs at all means this is not a money generating activity. So that's the first scale you want to rate all those events that you put in your calendar. The second scale that you want to use is the energy balance of this activity. Do you feel like pumped up when you do this activity? Or is it something that is slowly draining the life out of you? I'm looking at you accounting. Just kidding. And you can rate it from -5 to +5. -5 is really taking you a lot of energy. You hate this activity. +5, you feel more energy after you've completed it than before. Now that you've spent some time to rate your activities on those 2 scales of how much money they bring you and how much energy they either take or give you, it's time to apply the framework that saves hundreds of hours and hundreds of thousands of dollars to many business owners. Which remind me, by the way, if you want me to help you put 3 hours back in your calendar, increase your team's productivity so you can be the super dad your kids will remember forever, click the link in the description below. This framework is called the DADS framework. And I'm going to go over what that means and how it can help you save time and slash your work week in half in just a second. Starting off with the first of the 4 letters, which is something that we want to do more of, but that we don't do enough of as business owner. And that's a tragedy. The first D in DADS is delete. Think about it for a moment. Do you want to automate a process that shouldn't be here in the first place? Do you want to pay somebody to delegate an activity that is not bringing you more dollars, that's not increasing your bottom line? Or do you want to spend some time to do very efficiently something that shouldn't be done at all? I didn't think so. That's why we always start by deleting some activity. And it's difficult to know which activities to delete if we don't know how we spend our time, which is why you started with the time log. Great job, you. That's very simple now because we have a list of activities and we have ratings. So any activities that is not bringing you money and that is taking away energy from you is a prime candidate to be deleted or greatly reduced. Let's say that you hate replying to your email and you check them 5 times a day. Then delete 3 of those and keep 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening, or just 1 every 2 days and see if the world keeps spinning. You'll be surprised. Delete activity which brings no to little money to your business and drains away your energy, because that instantly frees up your time, of course, but also more energy that you can put in other activities. You know those activities with the $3 or $4 or $5 signs? Those you can do more of now. I know it's simple and it's crazy that so many high-level business owners still have a lot of activities that are well automated and well processed that shouldn't exist in the first place. And this is exactly why it's the case. Because they spend some time to automate a process or to delegate it, they are so proud of their productive process that they don't want to delete it, even though it's not helpful. The next letter in the DADS acronym is one that I get so much questions about. And that's a sexy one, arguably. That's automate. We're talking AI, we're talking Zapier, we're talking other software, and I want to do justice to this topic, so we'll do a deep dive later in this video. For now, let's grab some more quick wins with the third D, which is delegate. Now that you have a list of everything that you do in a given day, everything that's low money making, and that isn't increasing your profits and that is taking away your energy, some of those you've deleted, some others you cannot quite delete, but now it becomes abundantly clear that you shouldn't be doing it yourself. Think about it this way, and again, that comes back to Hormozi and Dan Martell's idea of firing yourself from a job. If you are a one-person shop and you do everything, you're the janitor, you're the receptionist, you're the salesperson, you're the person who provides the service, you're the IT guy, you have some $10 jobs, $20 jobs, $100 jobs, and a few 500 jobs. The more time you spend in the $5, $10, $20 an hour job, the less time you have to do the other kind of works. And now you have a clear list of how much money does that bring, how much energy does that take. So go back into the list and pick right now at least one activity that you can delegate to somebody who's already on your team. If you have nobody on your team, find some activities that you can delegate to somebody on Fiverr or a contractor. And if you know how much more high-paying activity you can do if you free an hour by paying $5, $10, or $20 per hour to this other activity, it's an easy deal to make because now you have the data. And that's just one stepping stone for you to slash your work week in half. Now, we're going to talk about something that's very simple, and I had a discussion with one of the members of our community last week who still isn't doing it. And I understand that because I also struggled with it in the past. And I also wasted a lot of hours because of this. And that is to trusting your employees more. It's not an easy thing to do because chances are that you've built your business by yourself and keeping very close to the vest everything that you are doing to keep a high standard of quality. And yet it's time to let go of some of it so that you can reclaim your time and do some more powerful activities. How do you do that? Step by step. Let's take the example of an assistant. I worked with my assistant for years and she was doing things for me like giving a hand to Santa around the Christmas season or booking some flights. But I was reluctant to give her access to my email. Once I passed this blocked and I could give her my emails, I saved I think another 2 hours per day. I didn't spend 2 hours per day in my emails, but let's say that I spent 10 minutes a day in my email. I open my mailbox, I see all those messages, that breaks my focus. And then maybe one of those titles is really catching my attention. And so now I deviate from my plan. And that's very expensive time-wise. Now, when I open my inbox, there is 0 email or 1 or 2 email. I can stay focused and I can keep the course of action. So learn to delegate more and more and more and take it progressively so that you can free up your time and slash your week in half. Okay, guys, I know you're waiting for it. So we're going back to the A of the DADS framework. The A stands for automate. And yes, we're going to talk about AI. You know, we're going to talk about AI, but not only. Because there are things that you can do which don't require you to learn AI that will save time. Basic things that's arguably we all should have learned to do 10 years ago, but are still there. Let's get right into the first one. Those are what I call regular software. If you're using a paper calendar instead of a digital calendar, it's longer for you to share the information with the people in your team. Because you need to call them, send them an email, send them a text to let them know. If you have a digital calendar, then they can just access it and know when you're busy, when you're free. Same thing with your clients. You can give them a link and they can book you when you're free instead of going back and forth. I'm using a simple example here to ask you a question. Which part of your productivity workflow is the equivalent of the paper calendar? What is something that you're still doing that frankly you should have changed 10 years ago? Let me know in the comment. Then there is a second category of tools that are really important for you to automate those tasks that are less than impactful in your business. And those are what I call connection software. Connection software such as Make.com or Zapier. And what they do is they help 2 different software communicate to each other. For example, every time I receive an email by client X, take the text and put it in a spreadsheet. Or take the text and put it in my CRM. Very simple. Now, to many of my clients' surprise, I don't use a lot of connection software because I built my tech infrastructure around simplicity and having software who do their job in the first place. That comes back to the D of the DADS framework. We want to delete things first. So a lot of things I didn't have to connect because I deleted the part of the process that wasn't really needed. Something to think about. Those connection software are super helpful. So think about a task that, again, could be automated because you're basically taking a data somewhere and putting it somewhere else. And maybe you've already delegated that. Ask your team, what is something that they do regularly? Because your productivity is the most important thing of all. Because you're demonstrating the work ethics that you want in your company. If you're less than productive and you complete your calendar on paper, then this is the example that you show to your company. But then as soon as we solve your productivity, the next step is to help your team members increase their productivity. That's how you increase the profit and save on cost. But that's, again, subject for another video. And then, of course, the biggest revolution that happened over those past 2 years that changed everything and that is in the process of changing everything is AI software. And the best explanation of AI came from a business owner who owns an AI company. He told me, think about AI as a magical cap that you put on, and when you put on, you transform yourself. Do you need to be a graphic designer? You put your graphic designer AI hat. Do you need to be an accountant? You put your accounting AI hat. Do you need to be a copywriter? You put your copywriter hat on. I see so many people spending fortune on AI consultants. Don't do it, guys. Don't do it. Hire me instead. The one critical mistake that I see business owners do over and over again is they do their own research on AI. They come up with one tool who they think is amazing, and then they go and they force it upon their team. And the team is understandably resisting. It's the latest craziness from the boss. You want us to use whatever Otter, or you want us to use Perplexity or whatever. I don't want that. Here's how you think as a business owner, not as a business operator. You invest some of your time in a meeting with your team and you ask them what's the worst part of their job. If you cultivate a good company culture, they will tell you. And then give them a few hours in the week so that they can make the research on which AI tool, which AI hats they could put on in order to get rid of this part of their work without decreasing the quality. Doing your time log, rating your activities and start to delete them and delegate them is a great first step for you to slashing your week in half and increase your profit. But that's just the beginning. And that's exactly what I've put together, a full program called CEO Time Freedom that will take you step by step on how you can reclaim your time, delegate more, automate more, double your team productivity, so that you can be the super dad your kids will always remember and make a shit ton of money at the same time. So check this video in order to learn how to get access and how to use the information to start increasing your profits already now. My name is Arnaud. I'm a time saving and productivity coach, and as usual, peace.